What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. Dean 7904. If you want to get all technical, 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation. It starts right now. It takes you all the way up to lock, tip off, air quotes, lock, 7:30 on the East Coast. 4 games lock at 7:30. 4 games amongst the 6 going down tonight. There's kind of an island game that goes on later on. Minnesota and the Clippers. That starts 2.5 hours after the Atlanta-Milwaukee game, which is only a half hour after the 4-game block at 7:30. The slate has been flipped on its head multiple times throughout the day. Just a little bit ago, it was like, hey, how about those Clippers, right? There's no Terrence Mann. There's no KPJ. There's no Norman Powell. There are 6 teams. Half the slate is on the back half of a back-to-back. Detroit, Indiana, the Clippers, resting some guys. I think actually Mann has got a finger. He's going to be out for a while. Milwaukee, Orlando, and Philly, a bunch of teams, half the teams are on the back half of a back-to-back. Earlier, 20 minutes ago, we're like, hey, I guess we're going to be playing some fringy Clippers. But now it's like that meme where the guy's like caught staring at the new girl, like the old girl is like, hey, what about me? The Clippers are like, hey, what about me? The new girl is the Celtics, because the Celtics have ruled out Jason Tatum and Jrue Holiday. So, yeah, we just got our projections updated as well. We were discussing that before the show. Myself, Chop, the returning champion here on a Wheel Wednesday. Yeah, get the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Producer Steve has got the post up. Go ahead, hit the avatar in about an hour, 6:30 East Coast, 5:30 Central for those in Central Time, 4:30 Mountain, and of course 3:30 Pacific. I'm going to hit all the time zones. The people sometimes cannot do the math. We'll be spinning the wheel, giving away a week free of RG Premium. Get 100 likes, we'll spin the wheel twice. Chop returning champ. What's going on, Chopper?
What am I the returning champ of again?
Yes, you were on yesterday's show and you came back. You're the returning champion, despite the fact you had 19 clues for Television Tuesday and still somehow you couldn't get there.
They were terrible clues. We made a point of that at the end of the show. They were terrible clues.
What if I told you, producer Steve, in just 5 clues got the answer? What if I tell you that?
Yeah.
Wait, was Tim here yesterday? Tim was here yesterday. That's
unbelievable, right. Steve. You ruined that for me. Dean, I had something set up perfectly. Unreal. Steve ruined it. Oh, man.
Unbelievable, man.
Tim's just a silent assassin. Like, I remember he was – now I remember. Oh, that's right. You got his work.
I talked more than Chop did yesterday, and you forgot about me. So, yeah.
You know what it was? Thanks. I was thinking –
that would have been so good, too.
Yeah, well, bad job by me. I'm not good at remembering who was the host yesterday, and Chop's just not good at Television Tuesday. We all have our goods and our what we're good at and we're bad at, and that's just the way it is. But Chop, I guess by default, we're all returning champions. How about that? We're running the show back. Hopefully better than yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, whatever, man. It's a little like I've been on Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, NBA all season long. Like, I'm not the returning champ of nothing, man. I'm just the dude.
You're the Ken Jennings, basically, of this show.
The dude they stick on the schedule here, man. Like, I don't know.
You're getting your work in.
On the bright side, back-to-back shows with Tim. Can't beat that, man.
Tim, it is exhausting working with Dean. I do agree with that. I can hear that in your voice.
I didn't want to say it, but
yeah, it can be taxing.
You hit the quota. Basically, you're done. The quota's been hit by Tuesday or so, but the week gets a little bit longer, unfortunately. But Tim, just you have to hold your nose and deal with it and bear with it, I suppose. I apologize.
No, it's okay. I'll get through it. I'm supposed to be on NHL projections right now, but got to do the show with you. NBA takes priority.
Is it a big slate for hockey? I feel like there's not a lot of games tonight for hockey.
There isn't. It's only a 4-gamer.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was. Are you going to be multitasking? You're bouncing back and forth? Are you in and out?
Maybe towards the end of the show, I might be multitasking.
Yeah, and that I assume starts at 7:00 on the East Coast.
No, actually, it starts at 7:30, so that's why I was able to do this. So
there you go.
Really, yeah.
All right. Again, we have a 6-gamer tonight. I guess I'm going to run the optimal for the first time. I know, Tim, you ran it. right before the show started, and I was just trying to guess who was in there because you said it was 5 Celtics in the optimal, which makes for an interesting conversation. I don't think I'm playing 5 Celtics in tournaments. I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see. A lot of guys are going to project well, obviously, with Tatum, all his usage being out, Holiday being out as well, and some our projected starting lineup: White, Brown, Hauser, Horford, and the Zinger. I think Pritchard is in there, right? Pritchard is projecting better than Horford, just positionality as well. But okay, do you want to tell the people what it is? I'm running it right now too, but it was officially 5. Is that most of them, or is that just the first one? As far as
I'd only just run one. I'm running 150 right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to put in a little bit of randomness and a little juice to it.
I'm doing the same.
See what comes up. I'm going to be waiting for our next sim update as well. So I'm going to be curious to see what sims look like, but we just got that news, so sims might take a little bit. But the projections are completely updated.
Using lineup HQ, I got just as you're doing bells and whistles, I add some variants, things like that. First optimal for Boston. This is DK. Obviously, you can't play 5 on FanDuel. 5 in the second one, 4 in the next one. It's Boston and it's Clippers and it's D'Angelo Russell.
What could go wrong with that? With a little bit of Russell, Derrick Jones Jr. chalk, 4 or 5 Celtics on a team. I mean, how can you lose? How can you lose?
I think you can. I think we're gonna find a way. Man. It's gonna be. Hopefully, this slate is better. Last night, like the cup, I was so excited for the cup stuff, and all these teams are gonna get up. The game stunk. They just stunk. There's really no way to lipstick in the pig. I don't know how much basketball you watched last night, but they're like all the games.
Do you remember when I said last night, Dean, that I was going to watch basketball over hockey, which is really rare for me on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
Well, I did. I started for a little bit, and I was like, "This is awful," and I immediately put hockey back on because those games were atrocious. So there were supposed to be so many good games last night, and they're like that Knicks Magic game. I actually wanted to watch that.
Yeah,
and that was horrible. So.
The only suspense was how long is Tibbs going to keep his guys in this game? That was the only suspense.
Right.
Yeah. And Orlando kept their guys in there for a long time, too, because they were fighting for point differential stuff. They ended up making the tournament. So, yeah, both teams ended up moving on. But the Spurs lost, right? I'm pretty sure they lost, right? Durant got hurt. Wemby's already hurt for tomorrow. Spoiler. Durant's out for a week plus as well. Okay. We care about today and today only. This is DFS, right, Chopper? Anything big picture-wise we want to point out before we go game by game?
I don't think anything too big picture-wise. I mean, obviously, huge Boston news, big Clippers news, but I think there's going to be more news coming. Just fair warning. I think there's going to be more news. Don't you think, Dean? We're not done with news yet.
We were speculating on this before the show, and so if you look at the official NBA injury report, Cunningham's not on it, but we've seen him rest on a back half of back-to-back and travel, right? We've seen him do that, get late scratched, up to the minute, basically. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we've seen it happen before. We've seen Giannis Antetokounmpo go from probable to out. We've seen that before. I thought, so the thing is, Giannis wasn't really pressed last night because that game was a blowout. He played, I think, 27 minutes. And the thought process was those teams are going to go full throttle last night, and they're going to rest some dudes today. And I think Lillard played 33, 34 or so, but it wasn't really necessary. And, the game was such a shellacking that I guess they're going to play. And I'm not saying Giannis isn't going to play tonight, but I was saying, if we're going to draft on players that are most likely to be scratched out of nowhere, I think Giannis is one of them. Cunningham might be one of them. Goga Batadze is questionable. We saw he got hurt last night in the warm-up line. Saved my lineup because I ended up getting Mo Wagner, who closed that game awesomely. And I think he's another really, really strong play potentially tonight if things crack his way. If Goga's out, and also Wendell Carter on a back-to-back. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm anticipating one of those two to sit.
At least.
At least. Exactly. So Mo might be an amazing play. But we'll get that news before lock.
Yes, 7:30 lock again. That's one of the 4 games. I'm trying to think if there's anything else out there as far as questionable. Oh, Pacers, we got for Indiana. They wrote the one that was kind of sort of obvious. God, what's the guy that was ruled out?
Nemhard.
Yeah, we kind of knew that was going to happen. They're on a back-to-back, and they do goofy things sometimes on a back-to-back. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Halliburton was really good last night in his road game. He's on a road game against night. And then Brooklyn is like, oh, well, we're going to find some cheap stuff on Brooklyn and like just kind of deal with it. And if it happens, so be it. If not, we don't really need it, right? But we have DFS questionable. We have Cameron Johnson questionable. We have Ben Simmons questionable. So some potential value can drop. But like Schroeder's not cheap. Claxton's probably priced where he should be, and he's not really been good this year. He's been dealing with that back as well. Maybe that's kind of hampering him to some degree. Of course, Cam Thomas is out, Tyler Williams is out. But yeah, there's some stuff that still might come, and we should get most of it. Of course, there's that one game there at the end, Minnesota and the Clippers, 10:30. But I don't think. I mean, we already got the Clippers stuff, right? You might just get the starting lineup that might be a little different, but we're projecting Harden, Dunn, Coffee, DJJ, Derek Jones Jr., and Zubac, which I think
we just got Jimmy Butler is in.
Okay.
That was another piece of news that I was going to talk about, but we don't have to worry about that. So
I assumed he was
Butler's in,
which probably was a bad assumption, but yeah, it did work out that way. Also, Jovic and Love are available too. Not that we're messing with the Miami stuff beyond the three. At least I'm not. But it's just there's no point. I mean, it's just so random. Doesn't make any sense as far as I'm concerned. When somebody's out, then all of a sudden, right? We saw when Butler was out, we saw Jaime Jaquez, drew the start. Then it became interesting. But if Hero, Butler, and Bam are all available, I don't want to play anybody else on Miami. Chop, anything before we move on and talk a little game by game?
Just move on, Dean.
I thought it was important to give like an overview. I think
you did a great job, but I have nothing to contribute to that conversation.
I think you would have done just as good a job, if not better, if we would have threw it to you. But okay, yeah. So there's 4 games at 7:30. The very first one we'll talk about. Should we skip Orlando just in case we get news? Let's skip Orlando for now. We'll get back to it. But we'll skip because they're all 7:30. We'll skip Indiana and Brooklyn as well. Let's go to Detroit and Boston. There we go. That's what we'll do. Yeah, you know what? Jimmy in chat. Shout out to you, Chop. I cashed the lineup last night with Mitchich and the dude for Toronto. Like they put up like 7 points because I had Hart. I like single digit guys, Hart and the right Wagner. It was such a weird lineup, bro. Like it was amazing and terrible. There was no in between, but you made the right call, Chop, saying Mitchits was a bad play, and I did not listen. So good job. Okay, Detroit, Boston, 220 is the total. Boston's not like a 13-point favorite here. Again, we just got the news. Both these teams in the back half of back-to-back. Tatum just ruled out, as well as Drew Holiday. As far as the Detroit side, well, they did rule out Asar Thompson, and that's all we have right now. We think that's probably going to be it, but maybe we get something else. Wouldn't be shocking. Wouldn't be, the most out of this world news. But I'll throw it to you, Tim. We're kind of discussing this Boston, Detroit stuff, and I guess power rank the Celtics is a good place to start in terms of priority.
All right, so power ranking them, I'd go Jaylen Brown, I'd go Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Porzingis, and then Sam Hauser. But I think that I don't know, like I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna go like max 3 or min 3, or min 4.
Min
I think
4.
Probably min 4 is probably too aggressive. I don't think min 3 is, though, to be honest with you. This is a very, very small slate. I mean, who's going to produce for this Boston team outside of those guys? I mean, it's not going to be, I don't know, like, I guess because there's significant blowout risk, maybe you do a min 2, and maybe the game blows out, and it's just going to be some of the random bench players at the end. But, I mean, we've got a comment in chat like Pritchard's not going to be 2%. Yeah, ownership has not updated yet.
That's going to change. Yeah,
he's definitely not going to be 2%. He's going to be very, very popular, and I really don't mind him as chalk. To be completely honest, I'm probably going to eat that chalk in single entry and in cash games. So, but I mean, I really like Derek White. I always play Derek White when one of Tatum or Brown's out. So I mean, that's another piece of good chalk. I think if I was gonna be fading a couple of these guys, it'd be Hauser and Porzingis. But I mean, they're still should be pretty solid point per dollar plays.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're out of bodies, right? They have 13 guys. I'm not saying they're going to be playing the, Drew Peterson and then Springer and Tillman and those guys. We did see Walsh pop up and start the other day. He made the cameo appearance. Hopefully nobody fell for that one. But Cornette was amazing the other day with like 6 blocks on the inside. He was spectacular. Again, not necessarily suggesting you should play him either because they're not weak in the middle, with Kata and Horford and Zinger. Just a note, I suppose. Chop, what are your rules as far as Boston? Can you prioritize the Celtics for me?
Oh man, that's a tough to prioritize those guys. I would say that if you want me to rank the Celtics, I'd probably go Derek White number 1 because he's significantly cheaper than Jaylen Brown, and one of those guys I'll classify White as close to a star player. He's close, not quite, but one of those guys, one of those big 3, Porzingis, Brown, White, somebody's going to get there, right? Somebody's got to get there. They're going to score a point. They're projected at, about 115 Vegas. I don't know what they've updated yet in Vegas, but a lot of points. So Derek White 1 because of the price tag. I don't trust Porzingis just yet, so I'd go Jaylen Brown 2. But I don't know. I might play them both in the same lineup. Might set a rule not to. I don't know yet. I would kind of dip into Peyton Pritchard next, and then Sam Hauser. The rest don't really interest me a whole lot. Like, I'm not going to chase after Al Horford. Like you said, don't want Drew Peterson, Cornette, or Kata. So I'd say because of the price tag, Derek White 1, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser.
By the way, I ran some optimal stuff on FanDuel. 3 Celtics in the first one. Kind of surprising, only 3. Then 4, then 4, then 4. No, and then there's one with 2, which is, again, kind of surprising. So maybe a little bit, you're not necessarily forcing them as much over there. Why don't you trust Zinger? He's been awesome since coming back. The minutes are basically there. 32 minutes last time versus Cleveland. He's the second most fantasy points per minute in the team. Tatum is number 1 at 1.46 on DK per minute, and the Zinger 1.35, well ahead of Brown at 1.18. What's the issue with Porzingis? And the matchup's good because Duran's terrible now.
I mean, it's tough to trust a guy who's sat out the majority of the season with a bad foot, and I don't know. It's these. Like, Boston's just a different kind of a team than other teams in the association. Like, when they're not really inspired to play, what's the point? They're the champions. They're the best team in the NBA this year. They don't have a lot to prove. I just don't see him being getting on like this ton of run just because Tatum's out. I think everything's completely normal for him. Nothing goes over for him. I think that the guys who get the benefit of Tatum being out are White and Brown mainly.
We got a different Tim Spiros in chat saying, apparently doing the deep dive twice last year, same situation. There's no Holiday and no Tatum. It's nothing surprising. Brown, White, Pritchard all smashed both games. Okay. Yeah, it's Detroit. Any runbacks here, Tim? I don't know. I
don't think so. I think Cade's far too expensive at this point. So I'm not going to be paying $9,700 for him. I think the question is, if he were to sit, would you be playing any Detroit players? And also, if you were to sit, would the blowout chances of the game increase so much that it hurts some of the Boston value in this game?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think those are the more important questions, but in a vacuum, no chance am I playing Cade Cunningham at 97 on DK and 91 on FanDuel.
Yeah, if you're going to play him, he's better played on FanDuel. Like the Jaden Ivey price is priced as if Cunningham's out on TK. He's 7.9. Like, get out of town. That might, on the expert survey, they asked like, who's the biggest bust in relation to salary? And I'm pretty sure I put Jaden Ivey because 7.9 is an egregious price. Just should not be that expensive. That has to adjust for life with Cunningham back there. Chop, how about yourself? Are you having fun tonight? Making 150, making one? How many lineups are you rolling with?
I'm making one lineup tonight, Dean. One on FanDuel, one on DK.
So no fun.
No fun, man. The NBA is, you talk about exhausting. My God, man. I mean, I did 6 last night. That's not even that many lineups, right? Like, it's nice and easy. Supposed to be nice and easy. Got everything set, ready to go, and then boom, they say Goga's out, and that's that changes. Like, even though I didn't even play him, it still changes everything. Hey, yeah, you got to go search Orlando and wait for projections and see if who's going to be the play now. And I don't know, man. It's just exhausting to do that all night long, every night. They can have the NBA. Sheesh.
By the way, Ben Simmons available, DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith out. Cam Johnson, game time decision. Mab says more exhausting NBA or MLB. MLB is not exhausting at all.
MLB is
yeah.
Golly, dude.
It can be frustrating and tilting, but it's not exhausting, right?
Yeah. MLB's so easy.
Exhausted. That's what's exhausting. The same thing. And it's a 6 months. Like, all right, yeah, we get it. The Athletics, we know the ballpark's big. But you theoretically could make a baseball lineup in like 5 minutes. Like, it just be fine with that. It doesn't matter who gets scratched in another game necessarily. Okay. Anything else here of note? Speaking of Pop Chop, how was with Friday night, your movie night? What was the most recent movie at movie night? Anything worth exploring, worth sharing with the people? Do you recall what it was?
Yeah, I do, but it's an odd time to ask it. But I'll be more than happy since it was the day after Thanksgiving. I said, okay, now we can do Christmas movies. I waited a whole year.
Eyes Wide Shut?
No, that's a terrible movie. I saw that when I was like 8 years old, and it was
probably should have seen it at 8 years old. That's definitely
I'm not going to watch it now. But I resisted the urge to watch this movie throughout the course of the year, even though I heard it was good because I wanted to save it for Christmas time. So I watched The Holdovers on Friday.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Very good. Very good.
I thought that was a Thanksgiving. Was that Christmas or Thanksgiving? I guess it was Christmas, wasn't it?
That was Christmas movie.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember. It's so funny you said it because I just watched the Paul Giamatti movie yesterday because we're going to be discussing it on the Pick Six show later on tonight. American Splendor, which you've probably never seen, but most people haven't seen it. But it's a fun movie. It's another fun's the right word. But it's if you like Paul Giamatti, you'll like American Splendor. But did you like The Holdovers? I assume yes.
It was very good. Yeah, very very good. Yeah. Yeah,
I think it should enter the lexicon of like Christmas movies that people. I guess I don't do that, but to me, a movie's like just as good if I watch it in March or if I watch it in December.
Listen, I don't know what Ruthless Villain is trying to make a joke in chat. He says, I liked Hot Frosty. Ruthless, I didn't like it, but I did watch it though. We did watch it though.
I don't know what that is.
It's one of those like Netflix and these other subscription services now, they like bombard you with all these terrible Christmas movies now at this time. Like just low budget, like awful stuff. And yeah, Hot Frosty's one of them. And I watched it though.
It's the Hallmark Channel, Chop. But Hallmark got all the stuff started.
It was interesting.
Channel, I think they inspired it all. But this is the girl that used to be on Party of Five many, many years ago. I don't know who the guy is. But I think she's one of the regulars in these kind of movies.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And Negative Creep says he's trying to throw a Skinamax in there. Hey,
that's
man.
A real thing? I don't know if
that's is that a real thing?
No, is that still a thing? I know that was a thing many years ago.
I feel like I don't know. I mean, I would imagine with the advent of
I'm saying internet,
internet and pornography and Pornhub and all this other stuff that I don't think Skinamax is a thing. But buddy, I could tell you a good Skinamax story, but I'm going to save that for when we're like after hours sometimes.
We'll put that in the vault for like the next 3-game slate or something like that. All right. We shall move on. Hit the like button. Do subscribe. hit everything, turn on the notifications. Again, if you don't know, it's scrolling at the bottom. Get your name on the wheel. We're going to spin that wheel in about 35 minutes or so. Get your name on the wheel. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. How do you get that name on the wheel? Well, you go into the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, and just hit the avatar that producer Steve has posted. Let's move on.
We did get a Sims update, just an FYI.
Anything that's of note you want to share?
Not really. I mean, it's the usual suspects. A lot of Boston, a lot of Clippers, more Minnesota than I would have anticipated. But
Okay.
I think that's kind of interesting. But yeah, definitely getting into more Minnesota players than I thought we would get to. But I do like them as pivots, so it does make sense.
Lakers Heat revenge game for LeBron. 217 is the total. Lakers are 4-point dogs here in Miami. We just got the Miami update, right? Jimmy Butler's in. Love is in. Jovic was in as well, right? I think he was in also. Rozier available. Ware is out. Who cares? Great draft pick, Miami. Davis officially probable. Austin Reeves is out, which DK did not really adjust the D'Angelo Russell price. FanDuel he certainly adjusted, but he's like 1K more over there. But 4.9 for Russell, presuming he jumps right back in the starting lineup, which is what he's been doing. LeBron has been scuffling. Connect, if he's not hitting his threes, like his floor is rough as well. This is not necessarily the bounce back spot here, Chop. Lakers, Heat. This game is like, if we're going to power rank the 6 games, probably not on the podium. Probably not getting a bronze. You tell me.
It's an ugly looking game. It just doesn't have the feel of a game I really want to participate too much in for DFS. But you can't ignore the D'Angelo Russell price tag. And so at under 5K, even against Miami, he's squarely in play. He's projected, roughly right around that 30-point mark. That's pretty darn good for under 5K. So he's in the mix. You got to keep him in. The other guys, I like LeBron. Might be washed. I don't know. Not saying he is, but
he's 40 years old. He won.
I know.
40 this month.
Listen, he's probably the best player of all time. I'm not saying. I'm just telling you facts, Dean. That there is a chance LeBron has, the ship has sailed so far that, I don't even know, man.
How many championships would LeBron have won if Elon Musk was his teammate? I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Go ahead. Never mind.
No.
Go continue. You didn't see this thing with Scottie Pippen? Never mind. Go ahead.
I didn't see it. Dalton Connect.
I thought you were on Blue Sky, Dean. What's going on here?
Around. I see things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat knows what I'm talking about. That really goes for the one person in chat that gets what I'm talking about. But go ahead, Chop.
Dalton Connect seems like he's okay. He's like, he's the epitome of hit your 3-pointers, you're going to crush. But if you're not hitting them, you're not going to do very well. That's what he does. So he's a good GPP guy. The rest of that stuff, not playing LeBron Davis tonight. The rest of that's no good. Miami is just ugly side over there. Something's wrong with Bam this year. He's struggling on shots in the paint, man.
He's making some threes, but yeah, he's not been great overall.
He's sacrificing his in the paint efficiency for taking some extra 3-point shots. It's just not working out for him. So, of course, he has upside. That's what he does. But in general, he's been bad. Tyler Hero has been the opposite. He's been great this year. He's found his efficiency mark. But, 7,600, he's borderline what you could do. Certainly not playing Butler or Rozier or any of the other guys. So it's an ugly game outside of D'Angelo Russell to me.
Tim, are we enthused?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. He's showing up a huge negative leverage in Sims, but his opto rate is really high. So he's not necessarily a bad play. I would just be paying attention to the rest of your lineup if you want to play Russell, because that price tag is just so cheap. You're definitely playing him in cash games. I could see a case of getting underweight in GPPs just because there's some really, really strong point guards, like White, like Pritchard, I think Conley is decent also. So there's some guys around him that are pretty strong plays as well. But I don't know if I think Chop mentioned Dalton Connect. I like him quite a bit in GBPs. Like he's always such a strong GBP play. So I like Connect.
Or is rough, but yeah, if he gets going from 3, he can
right.
He can get to there. He can get you home.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty high on Connect tonight in GBPs. Not sure. I don't really want to get to any LBJ or AD. I'm sure it's fine if people want to go there, but I don't think it's really that great of a spot for them. So I'm not paying the 9,500 or the 10.5 for the 2 big name studs. It's really just Russell and Connect for me. And I think that's it.
We have an ownership update. I have my general rules, Tim, and I'm not saying I'm not going to play it, but general rules, I just don't like players that are super reliant on scoring. D'Angelo Russell at 40%. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like that, but I also understand it. I understand it. And I'm probably going to play it. But I don't like that as a general rule. And I'm probably not making enough lineups to get the Davis or Braun, but I'm not here to tell anybody they shouldn't be playing them. They're both in the teens, right? LeBron 13, Davis 15. Really strong, interesting tournament plays. Hero, Chop mentioned, he's been the best player for Miami. Jimmy's got a pretty good price tag at 7.5, and I assume he's basically full go. So he's like in the pool of guys, 5% where we're seeing it. That's perfectly fine with me. If I was running a bunch of lineups, I'd be over 5%. But that's basically it for this game. Bam, every once in a while he has those games, right? But he hasn't been himself this year. Defensively, not as strong either. Averaging close to a double-double. The assists are okay. But the blocks, 0.8 blocks, I feel like that's probably a career low. 0.8 per game just feels low to me. That's what I'm seeing here on the season. We shall move on. 2 games down. 2 to go at 7:30. Can we walk it back to I guess we'll go back to Orlando and Philly. Orlando and Philly, 209.5 is the total. Orlando is on the back half of a back-to-back. They're traveling. Philadelphia also the back half of a back-to-back. I think they also are traveling as well. I'm pretty sure they were on the road last night. I watched a good chunk of that game. Who did they play against? Yeah, Charlotte. That was the game I was watching on the big screen. And then we have the quad box, different conversation. But, so not a very appealing number, right? 209.5. That is the number we're looking at as far as the total. Who's in and who's out? Well, we're keeping an eye on Gogo Batadze, who hurt himself in the layup line yesterday, I believe it was. He's got an ankle. He's questionable. My guess is he doesn't play. We'll see. Banchero, of course, is still out. And we said maybe, just keep an eye on Wendell Carter for back half of a back-to-back. And Mo Wagner would benefit for either one of those guys being out. And if both are out, it might be Mo Wagner's season. De Silva would probably draw the start. I don't know how many minutes they can get out of Isaac, but maybe he gets a little bit of a boost as well. Philly, no Drummond, no Embiid, no Paul George, no Kyle Lowry. Yabusele is going to be drawing the start here, we presume. McCain should jump in the starting lineup. The current leader in the clubhouse for Rookie of the Year, I believe, last I checked, Jared McCain. Tim, Orlando, Philly, how do we feel about this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got to see about Carter and Goga. But I mean, as it stands right now, Franz Wagner is actually simming quite well. Don't mind him in GBPs. I think you can always get to him if he's going to be, relatively low owned. Outside of that, like, I have no interest in Suggs. If Wendell Carter plays, I think you can have interest in him just because he does have that power forward eligibility and he's 5,100. I don't think that's horrible. So I think you can get to Carter. But really, this game's pretty bad. And on the other side of this game, I really have no interest in Philly, like nobody. And Sims agrees with me. Optimals agree with me for the most part. I think Jared McCain on FanDuel is okay. But on DK, I really have no interest in Philadelphia.
I was going to say the same thing about McCain. I think Oubre is in the mix. I don't need it, but it's in the mix. Also wanted to note about Philadelphia. They're the second worst rebounding team in basketball, right? At 47%. just ahead of Brooklyn. OKC, shout out to OKC. Actually, shout out to Hartenstein because they were the worst, and now they're just the third worst. They're moving up with with Hartenstein being back just for 4 games or so. But that is Philadelphia, the second worst team in basketball as far as rebounding. And Drummond's played a bunch of games, and Embiid was around for a bit, and both those guys are out. So I would venture to say this is the worst rebounding team in basketball. And if we do the math here, Chop, if we get the ruler out, Yabusele is like, what, 6'8"? Is that the biggest guy in their rotation? I think. Is that fair to say? Like, if Goga plays, like, he should be able to smash on the inside. They'll be vulnerable inside. That's the point I'm getting at. Because I think, isn't Yabusele, like, he's undersized, isn't he? Chopper?
I mean, just looking at my TV sometimes, he looks like he's a little bit undersized for a center.
Yeah. 6'8". That's the biggest guy they got.
I mean, he's got some girth on him, though.
He's got some girth for sure. But Goga's got girth too if he plays. And Mo Wagner, Moritz, if depending on how well you know him. If you were, would you go by Mo or Moritz? If it was, what would your choice be? What would you introduce yourself as?
I don't know. I'd probably have to take on a nickname, but it's fine. He crushed last night, man, because of that damn blowout. That blowout was awful.
Yeah, that was pretty gross. But he got me there too, so I can't be too upset about it. That was the old late pivot with the news dropping. Yeah, Orlando, Philly. Chop, can you muster up any enthusiasm here?
Enthusiasm, no. But the one name I'd throw out there that maybe, and it's a salary play thing, is Tristan da Silva. Like, they struggle to make their 3-point shots sometimes, and he is a decent 3-point shooter, and he's just a little hesitant to take them. If they give him the green light tonight, because we're on a back-to-back and he's going to get a little bit more run, da Silva could blow away that $3,400 price tag. But everybody else in this game, I mean, outside of Mo Wagner, maybe that's about the only one, but da Silva is the one that's most interesting because of the price tag.
What about Franz? What about the Wagner stack?
Man, that 9,800 in a kind of an ugly game, defensive battle, like I don't know that I don't know, man. It's a sour taste from last night. Maybe I know you got to forget it and you got to move on to today. But in a back-to-back, that's your star player now. I don't know how much interest I have in him. I have more interest in his brother, who's half the price tag.
He also played a lot of minutes because they were doing some point differential stuff and they stuck around. I think he played like 39 or so. Suggs played a ton of minutes too. And he was dealing with a hip? What was his body part he was dealing with just recently? Yeah, Suggs played 39. These guys play pretty deep despite getting absolutely shellacked, and they're traveling as well. Franz played 39 also. 1.34 fantasy points per minute. He's been really, really good. It's justified as far as the price tag. And he's going to be kind of lost in this slate. Just kind of different pivots away from guys like Jaylen Brown. I think the price is a little bit different, but he would be in my pool in the mix. Any other news popping up for us? Anything? Let's see. Bataze, just a game time decision that is not helpful in any way. About 20 minutes or so, we're spinning that wheel, giving away a week free of RG Premium. Potentially two individual weeks if we get to 100 likes before we spin that wheel. And again, you go to the Discord channel. It's scrolling there at the bottom of the screen. Producer Steve's got a post. Just hit that post, and then your name will be transcribed, thrown up on the wheel. Steve will make that work for you and give away a week free of premium. Anything else here as far as Orlando, Philly, or are we moving on? I think we're moving on, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad game, all in all.
Yeah, it's kind of the haves and the have-nots as far as this slate. But, how basketball can be, especially with blowouts. Sometimes there's reasons to be different. 225 is a total in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a 3-point dog here to the Pacers. Stop me if you heard this, but we have another team on the back half of back-to-back. That will be Indiana. Indiana on the back half of back-to-back. The Brooklyn injury is not fully settled because we have only some news, right? DFS was out, right? And Simmons was in. Is that correct? I didn't write this down, but I think that's where we're at.
DFS is out. Simmons is in, yeah. And Johnson's a GTD.
Yeah, okay. I guess well, he would be in play if he's a full go. And if not, I guess Schroeder you can still play. is Schroeder or anybody on Brooklyn, now that they're getting healthier and the prices have kind of adjusted, like 7.5? Is there still meat on the Schroeder bone there, Tim?
I think there is if Johnson sits, but if Johnson's in the game then starts, then I think that he's too expensive. But if Cam Johnson were to play, I think he's an okay play. But I mean, we've seen Schroeder go for 50, so there's definitely meat on the bone at 7,500. I was surprised he's getting this much ownership right now. I don't know if that's I haven't hit refresh or not, but I'm seeing like 15%. Thought that was a little bit high. Same thing with Cam Johnson. He's around 15% as well. So
we got an update like 5 minutes ago. I'm not sure if you
okay.
In the last 5 minutes.
What is Schroeder and Johnson now?
Schroeder is 12% on DK, Johnson 10%.
Okay, so they come down a bit.
So not to cut you off, I'm sorry. The interesting one though is Tyrese Martin getting 16%, which is, I mean, that's under the assumption he's going to start for DFS and play 29 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not a great fantasy point minute player, I'm pretty sure, but just the theory is he's going to play enough minutes here. I should pull that up on the fly, but
yeah, it looks like we're giving him 29 minutes. So I mean, and around 22 DK points. Yeah, I mean, we just have such strong value that I don't know if we necessarily need him, but I guess if you're like MMEing, you'd be fine, like throw in there, maybe match the field with, but I wouldn't get too far overweight that mark.
Is he that much better than like DJJ and Coffee and Chris Dunn on the Clippers? Like
and like Hauser, right? I mean, you have to include Hauser in that.
Well, the thing is, if you're not playing 5 Celtics, Hauser might be one of the guys you cut. So yeah,
true, right? But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's super close. I would think like Chris Dunn and Derek Jones Jr. would be better than Tyrese Martin, but maybe I'm wrong.
Margins are pretty good, by the way. The small sample, 0.92 DK fantasy points per minute, usage at 17.9%. So not completely terrible as far as usage either. I didn't kick anybody off or kick anybody on. I didn't do that. Just kind of gave a straight look as far as what he's doing this season.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Jones projects for the same amount of fantasy points at $600 less.
Yeah.
So and Jones is only getting 25% projected ownership, and Martin's getting 16%. So I would just stick with Jones.
Chop, how do you feel about the Pacers and the Nets? How much would it change things for you if Johnson were ruled out?
Yeah, probably a little bit. I've got to be, it couldn't hurt things for that side of the ball. At this point in time right now, with everything that's on the board as it is, the most interesting pieces in this game to me are how I can save salary to get some superstars in my lineup. I don't really want to spend the money up in this game. I want to go cheap in this game. So we got my eye on Day'Ron Sharpe for 3,500. It's an ugly click, but you got to do something to save some money here. And also, he burned me last night big time. But second game of a back-to-back, maybe they give Jarris Walker a little bit more leash here at 3,800. That's another one that's really tough, man. But you got to do this in GPPs. You got to stomach some of this garbage. So Jarris Walker, Day'Ron Sharpe, both under 3,800 gets me some superstars. I just don't want to spend up in them. I don't want to spend up too much money on this game. If Cam Johnson gets ruled out, I'll reevaluate it and maybe that'll change some things. But as of right now, this game looks good for the cheap guys.
So, Chop, I don't know if you've seen our projection for Sharpe. He only played 16 minutes in this one game this year. He made his debut after a lot of injuries. We're only giving him 12 minutes tonight. I don't know if that's
he played 16 minutes against Chicago and scored 13 points. If he gets around, he's 3,500. DFS is out. I don't know. Like, honestly, Dean, this is if our projections were 100% accurate all the time, there would be no need to have DFS games. Like, it'd be over. The whole thing would be shut down, right? Like, there's got to be error in there, and you have to try to find some spots that are having error in them. And he's a good per minute guy, it seems. It's
Give me
3,500.
the best case scenario though for him. So I don't know. 20 minutes.
Okay, 20 and 20. 20 minutes, 20 fantasy points, 3,500. That gets me to 2 of the upper echelon spins that I want on this slate, and that's plenty enough to blow away the field because it's a stars and scrubs night, something like that.
Okay, so Tim, I'm not trying to be combative. Center and center only. Duran Chop is 3.5. If I guaranteed you 20 points, no more nor less, I don't feel like that's an awesome play. I think it's fine, I guess, but like I think there's better value that like I don't know if 20 points at center and center only really does anything for me.
I'd have to about like really look into like center, how strong center is overall, and I don't think it's really that strong though. Not to side with Chop.
No, if you
well,
agree with me.
I think Sharp's a little thin. I get what he's saying though. There is probably some fragility in that projection, but. Yeah, I don't think center is super strong. I mean,
Okay,
like unless you're counting Giannis as a center, I don't think AD is an amazing spot.
I wasn't doing that.
What are we projecting? Mo Wagner. What are we projecting? What are we projecting him at?
I was just gonna say this, Chop.
Well, that's gonna change though, because once one of the Orlando guys gets ruled out.
No. But I mean, he's got what Chop is saying. He's got upside for more.
Yeah.
Than what he's projected for, right, Chop?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just
everything's case by case. But Sharp has been hurt all season.
Okay, but I know. But I mean, there was a college guy hurt all year. Came in last night. They had him at 3K on DK projecting for garbage, and he scores 38 and breaks the slate. That happens, Dean.
Who was that?
Okay, guy for Providence. I forget what his name was, but. So what is I'm asking you legit Mo Wagner, what are we projecting him at right now?
I'm gonna guess like 18-20 minutes. 18 minutes.
No, fantasy points. I'm not worried about
21.
21 fantasy points. And what do we project Sharp at? 900 cheaper. What do we
change?
We're projecting him at 12 points, 12 fantasy points.
Yes.
Really?
12 minutes. He's like, yes.
Okay, let's put it like this, Dean. Also, I look at all kinds of projections from around the industry, and that's the lowest one by far of anybody. So maybe we're right, and that happens a lot too. Or maybe we're off, and one of the other guys has it right, and he's like 20. The projection of anywhere from 16 to 19 is actually more accurate. So
probably somewhere in the middle.
I mean, it's all relative. Like I said, he could not do very much tonight, and he could still help you out because the price tag is so cheap that it gets you the rest of your lineup that actually hits the nuts. It's all games and shenanigans, really, to be honest with you.
They're saying Giannis is officially available to play tonight. So there you go. I thought there was a chance, but according to the update, Giannis is good to go to play some basketball. We have 2 more games to go. We have crunch time coming in about 20 minutes. In 10 minutes, we're going to spin the wheel. So let's go ahead and unless we got anything else as far as Brooklyn, Indiana, are we good to go, boys? Moving on?
I think we're good. Okay.
Let's see. We have Minnesota and the Clippers at the end. Let's talk about, right on cue. Giannis officially in 236 total, which is a monster total. Just a 4-point favorite, which that kind of to me stunk a little bit. It's like I know Milwaukee's not been great this year, but they're basically saying they're kind of sort of somewhat the same teams. But yeah, Milwaukee just a 4-point favorite here at home versus Atlanta. Who's in and who's out? Middleton, I don't know when we're going to get him. At some point, I guess he'll come back. They said sometime after Thanksgiving. It is now after Thanksgiving, but he's still not playing basketball. Otherwise, they're pretty clean. As far as Atlanta, they're as clean as they've been, we've seen all season, right? Anybody that's relevant for Atlanta is available. That's why I made 236 total. It's high and it's tight. But maybe that's why. Well, Giannis, raw points, right? Raw points matter for sure. This was the case earlier today. He was projecting for 8 or 9 more raw points than everybody else because, there's no Luka, there's no Joker, there's no Wemby. Yeah. Almost 8 DK points difference, 8 and change him and Anthony Davis on DK. I think that's like 7 or 8 points is the spread. So Giannis, we're making one lineup tonight, Chop. Are we prioritizing Giannis Antetokounmpo?
As far as like between him and the other elite players, yes. Will he make my one roster? I don't know. And I still got to play that because then that's why I'm taking chances on some of those low guys under 4K that are projecting really moderately. It's because the only reason I take a chance on that is because I want the Giannis 80-point game, which is a very much a possibility in this matchup. The back-to-backs don't bother him. Doesn't seem to have bothered him his career. I don't think they bother him now. It's a great matchup. It's Atlanta's relatively healthy, so they can keep pace here with Milwaukee. So yeah, like he's a guy I really want, and I'm willing to go down to some guys who are projecting poorly to get him on my roster.
I dug into this a lot earlier today because I was, thinking about writing about the Bucks, Giannis, and Lillard on the survey. And so Atlanta, second fastest pace in basketball, defensive efficiency not as terrible as I thought they were. They're like ninth or 10th worst. I think it was 11th worst. They're much better inside as far as obviously Giannis is basically matchup proof, but they give it the most made threes. They give the most attempted threes. So that's kind of the way you get to him. It's like, oh, Lillard. And I think Lillard's really interesting. We'll talk about him in a second. But like from going from macro or to micro, Lillard is going to almost definitely get Dyson Daniels, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys know his nickname, but it is spectacular, the Aussie. Dyson Daniels, the Great Barrier Thief. Dude is averaging 3.1 steals per game. Nobody in the league is averaging more than 2.1. He's averaging more than a steal than everybody else in the league. Just a spectacular. See, the thing is, Chop, the Great Barrier Reef is a thing. I think it's one of the wonders of the world in around Australia. So I like Lillard. I like Giannis. The rest of it, whatever. Like they have these fringe 3-point shooters that somebody's probably going to get hot. I know Prince has been one of the best 3-point shooters this year by percentage, and maybe they sort of leave him open. But like I'm playing some Giannis and I'm playing some Lillard, but you can tell yourself a story as to why it might not be the greatest matchup because, again, Giannis is more of an inside guy, and it's not like Cabella's going to shut him down. Of course not. And Lillard's, going to be bombing away. He makes 3.5 per, threes per game, and Daniels is not going to fully lock him down. And there's transition stuff, and there's switches and things like that. But you can sort of tell yourself stories why it's not a great matchup. But, Tim, I'm curious where you land because I think I'm going to have – I haven't made my lineups just yet. I don't make a lot, but one of Giannis or Lillard in every lineup. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I make one lineup on each site, and I'm probably going to have Giannis tonight. Not 100% yet, but likely going to have Giannis. Really hard to pass up on this matchup. Atlanta plays so fast. They're 20th overall in defensive rating, 2nd overall in pace. I'm leaning to going with Giannis tonight. He could easily put up 75-80, like no problem at all. So looks like, I mean, just such a good matchup. I like Clint Capella quite a bit. Noto had him cored earlier. I think he still does. I'm not sure if he'd be a core play for me, but I absolutely love him in GPPs at 5,200. He was somebody that was popping in optimals all day up until this Boston news. So I think Capella is a fantastic play in GPPs. I also love Trae Young quite a bit at 8,800. I mean, they have 116-point total. That's a close spread. So I see no reason why Young can't be in the optimal winning GPP team. So I love getting to multiple pieces of this game. I don't even mind Bogdanovic off the bench at 4,400. I think he'd be relatively interesting as well in an MME set. We did just get Cam Johnson. He is available to play.
Good. Trae Young dealing with an injury, right? And maybe that's why he has a career low usage. If you look at his career, 28% in 2019, 35, 33, 34, 32, 30, 27 this year. And just sort of throwing it out there. Of course, he can get it. The assists have been awesome this year. Where is he at as far as assists? His assist percentage is 47.9%, which that is a career high. So there you go. I think maybe because Johnson's ascending on this team. Johnson, I think, is the better player. I don't know. Who's the better player?
No, Young is the better player. Johnson's going to be the better player.
No, like Young's the better fantasy player. If you want to say that, sure. But like he's not somebody I want on my team.
Yeah, okay.
If he's the best player, you're going nowhere.
Because he's so bad defensively, is what you're saying. Yeah.
In part, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll be one day he's going to be like a really good like 6 man off the bench for somebody like a championship team if he's willing to take that roster that spot. But as the lead dog, come on, you're going nowhere. Chop, if you have a thought, but by all means, feel free to fire it off, or just this game in general.
What was the Trae Young and who are we comparing him to?
Well, if you're building a team, you want Trae Young or you want Jalen Johnson?
Oh yeah, I mean, I want Jalen Johnson right now, but let's say Trae Young is like he's fine. Like you can't take all these guys, and again, I've said it. It's just like the quarterbacks in the NFL. A lot of it's about coaching and teammates and the environment you're in, man. I think Trae Young could go somewhere with some good coaching who shows him the right way to play. And I think he could be good because like he's obviously can pass the ball very well. He's got, he can pass, he can shoot the ball from deep. He has unlimited range. Like he can be good, but nobody's ever taken the time to do that with him. But yeah, all right, that's fine.
I'm saying imagine him in the Peyton Pritchard role.
That's fine too, Dean. But I mean, even right now, though, he's in his prime probably. If he just had the right situation, I think he could be a good real life player too. Yeah, he's going to struggle on defense, but they said that about Curry for a decade. Those guys won championship after championship because they surrounded him with great individual defenders and all that other stuff. But anyway, yeah, you're trying to paint that picture of Giannis maybe not having a great matchup. And on the flip side of that, bottom line is Atlanta gives up the 4th most points in the NBA and the 3rd highest pace. The pace plays like that's perfect for Giannis. That's what he wants to do anyway. He's a different kind of paint scorer anyhow. Like, so yeah, he's in a great spot. I'm with Tim. One lineup.
I wasn't trying to paint it. I was just kind of going back and forth.
I get what you're doing. Yeah. So you're playing devil's advocate, but I'm not falling for it though, Dean. I'm not for some people would say you're trying to trick us into not playing Giannis, so you have all the Giannis tonight. You're the only one with Giannis.
If you like Giannis, and for some reason I talk you out of playing Giannis, that is on you. And then that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah. But, okay. Well, so Giannis is definitely the guy in this game, and the rest of this stuff is probably not. Trae Young's a little too expensive for me. Jalen Johnson's a little too expensive. Like you said earlier, I don't want the other guys on Milwaukee. I don't even want Damian Lillard tonight.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, well, I can't play Lillard and Giannis in the same lineup. You got to pick one, and it's certainly not going to be Lillard over Giannis. It's going to be Giannis. So, yeah.
Do you believe in Dyson Daniels being like an elite wing defender? Like it's one of the best. And do you care about that?
You know what? I have to say, Dean, I have to be perfectly frank with you. I haven't watched enough film. The stats are one thing, but we all know guys who they can rack up steals. That doesn't mean they're good defenders. And I haven't seen him. I'm not saying he's not good. Steals can just be gambling a lot and getting lucky, but getting burnt too. I haven't looked at him enough and dug in, but seems fine on the surface. But that's not the reason I wouldn't play Lillard. I wouldn't play Lillard tonight because 9,600 and you got to make a decision, him or Giannis, and I'm not playing him over Giannis.
You make me think of Ricky Rubio, by the way. Guys that hunt for steals but weren't good defenders. That's the first guy that pops in my head. I feel like Russ is probably like that as well, right? And I don't know who else is there that like fits that sort of mold that you're suggesting. But, yeah. All right. We're going to spin that wheel and just the chat. Let me know who the defenders that look good in the box score. But side note, I mean, I'm not, a tape bro or whatever. But I've seen a lot of Atlanta this year, and Dyson Daniels looks awesome to me. He looks like a really, really good defender.
Is he good on the ball?
I think so.
The most. That'd be the biggest defensive thing guys can do is really good on the ball defender. The Rudy Gobert shot block and any monkey with a 7'6" wingspan can get in there and block shots. That don't do nothing for me. Give me a on the ball defender, man, who sticks to you like glue. That's how you win championships.
T-Wolves and Clippers in just a second. We're going to go ahead and bring in producer Steve. We're going to spin the wheel, I believe. don't think we're at 100 likes, which is egregious. We're close, but let's give it a wheel, give it a whirl, and I guess maybe we get to 100 at the end of the first spin. Maybe producer Steve is feeling generous enough, but otherwise, we're just going to spin it once. Fire up that music, DJ. All right, shout out to Coleman WT. I believe producer Steve will be able to slide into your DMs and hook you up, juice you up with a week free of RG Premium. Again, we do this every single Wednesday. We always have some sort of gimmick, some sort of, yesterday we had Television Tuesday. Don't know if there's, I've not looked at the schedule. I don't know how uneven it is, but if we're back tomorrow, I presume we will have something as well. Film Friday, movie Monday, all the gimmicks. All right, the last game. You can take a nap if you want between 8 o'clock and 10:30. I can't. I'm doing the Pick Six show tonight, 8 o'clock on the dot.
What a plug, Dean. I mean, that was really, really well done.
Thank you. It's almost I appreciate that. You got to give that show a listen though. If you haven't figured it out by now, week 14, you probably aren't. But like those two guys are spectacular. It's a fun show.
Who you do the show with?
Rich Rebar and John Daigle. You're aware of them.
Oh,
it's a great show.
Yeah, I need to catch that sometime.
It's week 4. Chop. Seriously, you're just pulling the chain, aren't you? You're pulling the chain. I hope you're pulling the chain.
I don't know, Dean. Maybe not.
Well, if you have some time, if you're not watching, what's the Lacey Chabert movie that you might be watching at some point for Christmas? Something with Snowman or Frosty Snowman or Frosty Season. And feel free to give I don't know what it's called. That's not on my.
What was it called?
I don't know. It was
Chad, help me out. Was it the I don't know.
the terrible Christmas movies.
The guy, like she does something with a scarf, and the snowman turns into a human being, and she falls in love with him. It's pretty cool, man.
There's always like a prince too. They always kind of work sometimes it's royalty for whatever reason. Not that I've seen. I wouldn't know anything about it, but. All right, the last game is Minnesota and the Clippers, 212. Kind of a paltry total here. Minnesota slight favorites. Clippers without 3 rotation players tonight. They're going to be without. Let's go ahead and pull this up. Well, Kawhi obviously has been out the entire season. Terrence Mann, KPJ. Thank God, because that guy every single time I play him, what an absolute disaster that's been for me. But the real meaningful one is Norman Powell. And we would have been playing the heck out of some of these dudes. Not that we aren't anymore, but the Boston News has jumped ahead. We're projecting Harden, Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, DJJ, Derek Jones Jr., and Ivica Zubac to draw the start there for the Clippers. As far as Minnesota is clean with the exception of Dillingham, who's got an ankle, the rookie, and Jingling Joe Ingles, the veteran, doesn't matter. Probably talking some smack from his seat, but he wouldn't be playing anyway. Tim? Jim Harden, he's another star on this slate that we should talk about. Edwards is one of those guys I don't want to say I never play him, but he always seems a little bit overpriced. Kind of not as good as his reputation, kind of not as good as his price tag for me. Like fun for highlights, sure, fun for basketball, but DFS, that's what I care about, points. Sure, in the mix, but not somebody I prioritize often. Mike Conley, the very, very unsexy. If you want 26 fantasy points, he get you 26 fantasy points. If you want 27, he's going to still get you 26 probably. Tim, what do you got? Clippers and Minnesota.
Yeah, I think this is the second most important game outside of the whole Boston situation, just because the Clippers are going to be pretty popular tonight, and getting through that kind of value, sifting through that is going to be pretty important. Derek Jones Jr. is popping in a lot of stuff. He's popping a lot of sims. So is Amir Coffey. And then what do we do with James Harden? Because we know that we want to play Giannis. We know that we probably want to play Jaylen Brown. Where does that leave us with Harden? So, Harden's in a fantastic spot. He's projected for around 50 DK points, around 25% ownership. Like, he's in a fantastic spot. I mean, he could easily go for 65 here. I think he's going to be left off of my cash game team, but that could end up being a humongous mistake. So I'm not exactly 100% sure what I'm going to do. But if I was MMEing tonight, I would try to get overweight that 25%.
Our projection team is kind of throwing their hands up a little bit on the minutes. Some hedging, right? Cam Christie getting 4 minutes. Kai Jones getting 2 minutes. Flowers getting 2 minutes. I don't know if those guys are going to play or not, but it's just interesting. Like there's a little bit of uncertainty. I do think the interesting one is if you're going to throw darts, is Jordan Miller at 3K?
I thought you were going to say Mo Bamba. That's who I want to throw darts at.
Okay, well, give me the Mo Bamba pitch first. Because
just going
to play.
Yeah, I mean, he might be able to get up to like 20, but they might need his size in this game. It's kind of like I like this play kind of like better than Chop's sharp play, even though it's kind of the same thing. But I prefer going to Mo Bamba here.
Oh, you like Mo Bamba?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was a little confused.
I wouldn't mind people throwing some shots on Mo Bamba if they're like,
you say you
put
want
him in like
darts at him, and I was like, oh, you want to throw darts at Mo Bamba?
Throw darts with him. But I should have said.
I will shoot that down for this reason. Unless you're like expecting blowout, you're expecting all those injuries don't affect Mo Bamba unless you think for the first time this year he's going to play a minute alongside Zubac, and if you don't. We're projecting 32 for Zubac and 16 for Bamba. And that's that. And minutes don't change. Now, Minnesota is big. Not as big as they were when they had Cat, but maybe they unleash those guys together. I don't think so. So that's why I'm not interested in Bamba. But you think there's a chance they play together?
I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance of both of those things happening.
Okay.
So, I'm not saying he's going to play big minutes, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possible that he gets up to 22 minutes, something like that.
Chop, you want to power rank the Clippers nonsense?
Well, sometimes I sit here and I think I really would like to throw some darts at Dean, but I don't do it. What do you mean by their nonsense? Talk to me about their nonsense.
No, the nonsense is like Amir Coffee is kind of a not something you want to play. Chris Dunn's nonsense. DJJ is kind of nonsense.
Yeah, so let's do this. So Minnesota, I really don't have a whole lot of interest there. I ain't gonna lie. So I kind of glossing over them. The Clippers, like Tim said, Harden is awesome and all that other good stuff. Derrick Jones Jr. they're gonna try to shove that one down your throat because of the price tag and slightly elevated projection. The optimals are going to try to give you that. I don't think I like that one. Here's the name. I remember yesterday, Dean, and then it's apples to oranges. It's not the same thing, but yesterday
Jordan Miller. This is the setup for Jordan Miller.
Yes, yesterday I said KJ Simpson came into the league. He was old and he's ready to play. Jordan Miller's the same way. He was drafted at like 22, 23 years old. He's a versatile player. He's got some size on him. Can get you some defensive stats if they give him enough time. He can pass the ball. He can shoot the ball. He's min salary. He's dead min, 3K. He's tonight's KJ Simpson potentially. I'm not saying he's going to go for 30, but he could easily pay off this tag and be a pretty solid contributor tonight under the right circumstances.
This is the one I like. This is the one I think is much more interesting. And we've seen him get minutes, like not a ton necessarily, but in the 20s, right? I'm pulling up this game. 24 last time, 15, 11, 20, 20. And he could shoot. He could hit a three. I was looking at his usage earlier. I think it was in the 20s or close to. Let's see, 22%, right? And if you look at the bodies that are going to be out there, like Amir Coffey, Chris Dunn on the season is a 13% usage guy. Now, Harden might just be a 35% usage guy tonight, right? He just might take all the shots, but he likes to distribute as well. Zubac is involved, but he's not a mega shooter. 18, 19% as far as his usage in the season. Coffey at 16%. I think that there's a chance Miller is the guy. So I like that call. I don't know how much I need it, but if I need the 3K cheapie, that's my favorite. There's not a lot of choices, but like three and under or something like that. If you just don't have the money for Coffee or Dunn,
getting to about 17% of Miller and Sims as well.
Ooh, what is our official projection on him? Like 15 points or something like that? I don't think it's that high.
It's 16 points, 24 minutes.
Yeah, Dennis is asking Coffee or Miller, and I think if nothing else, if you don't need the salary chop, do we prefer Coffee? Because he's safer, certainly. But, if you want to go for the gusto.
I mean, if that $800 absolutely means nothing to you, probably Coffee is safer, and he's been there a lot longer and all that good stuff. But if that $800 makes a difference in the other player on your roster, Miller's not that far behind. You
could say this. This is kind of like NFL, where like you have like some of the pictures being painted in. You have your 5 of the 6 games are done, right? And then you have Minnesota and the Clippers. And if you could see that, like, hey, I'm in striking distance and I have Coffee, but this guy ahead of me probably has Coffee, and this guy probably has Coffee. And then if you want to pull the old switcheroo, that's something you can do. That's something you can definitely do.
By the way, Dean, Mo Bamba 14% in Sims, just short of Miller. Short of Miller.
He's he might play a few extra minutes. It's possible, and I don't know.
Sharp is not registering, by the way, in Sims at all.
No.
Sorry, Chop.
Oh boy, the ironically named Daron Sharp. It seems like.
Honestly, if he was, I probably would have to do away with my Sims subscription.
That's a good point.
They're asking about Bones. Is Bones going to get dusted off? We must have Bones listed, right? Like the 13 player. Yeah, we got him projected for 14 minutes. And is it possible? We've seen Bones like have his moments every once in a while, few and far between. But it wouldn't be shocking if he came off the bench and played 22 minutes. That did okay and was usable. He's also 3K, just for the record. So, if you're running 150, Chop, would Bones be in the pool?
No.
No.
I mean, there's a certain point where you got to draw a line, and guys just aren't going to make it, and he's not going to make it.
Yeah. Favorite player in Minnesota? I don't think we have an answer for that, right? Nobody really likes anybody in Minnesota. Didn't sound like it.
I don't mind Naz Reid at 4,600.
He's fine. Yeah.
I think he's okay. Mike Conley is simming well, but I just hate playing him.
Everybody does.
I know. Yeah. Nobody else really for me from Minnesota.
I don't like anybody, Dean. I would agree with all that. If you twist some arm and said, who's the one guy from Minnesota you're going to keep in your player pool, and looking at the price tags and everything, it might be Jaden McDaniels. Just maybe, I haven't even seen the history here, but maybe there's some history of him playing extra with James Harden, having to guard James Harden or something like that. I don't know. Just spitballing, Dean. You know how we do on this show.
Jim's like, what about Alexander Walker? I'm like, who's that? I'm like, oh, nah. Yeah, I know my brain doesn't even work. I'm like, Alexander Walker. Who's? I mean, I don't really want, nah. I mean, he has those moments, I suppose, every once in a while, but he'll close sometimes. But I don't see myself getting there. Crunch time coming in just a second. I do want to get, if you want to call Field and the Plums, they were talking about plums in the chat earlier. Whatever you want to call it, Chop. Slate Breaker. Who was your Slate Breaker last night? Do you remember?
I don't think it was particularly good because we did away with the guy from Toronto, Scotty Barnes. We said, maybe that's a little too chalky, so we can't go Scotty Barnes. Even though I locked in Scotty Barnes 100%, I said Scotty Barnes. Yeah, but that was a little too chalky, so I think the guy I took wasn't as good. But
Goga is in, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Is Goga interesting? Is he interesting? He's got 5 inches on the dude.
Which he is. Then
I just prefer Capella at basically the same price, but that's just my take on it.
Yeah. Okay. He's 5'1", Goga, and I know that there's other guys behind him, and Mo Wagner and Isaac. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to make it happen, but again, in his minutes, he'll be good when he's out there. It's just hard to figure out that rotation. I'm sorry, Chop. Did you pick a player?
I did not, Dean. We went off on another tangent. All right, filling it, not filling in the plums because that's a Monday night. That's a football thing. But play tonight. Let's go with Dayron Sharp. No, I'm not. Let's go with Derek White. Let's go with Derek White.
By the way, Thursday night, you got a good one, right? That's Green Bay, Detroit. I assume you're on that show.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's the best game of the week. I think that's the best game of the week for the NFL. Kind of a bummer we're losing it because I was digging into the NFL stuff, and this week's NFL main slate, it's not good. Spoiler, it's not good. Will Levis right now is currently projecting as the quarterback. Just a heads up. Things change, obviously, but that's where we're at. It's a good matchup for Levis, but still, it's Will Levis. C, Derek White, and raise him, Tim. What do you got as far as your slate breaker?
I'm going to go with Dalton Connect.
All right, let's go ahead. Bring in crunch time. Kevin Roth, Neil. I don't know who else. Is it a mystery person? I'm not sure who the next person is, but maybe it's an intimate crunch time. Not sure. Let's bring in crunch time.
You don't bring me up about the Pick Six when you're talking about the Pick Six podcast. You don't bring me up when you're talking about Thursday's show with Chop, which I'm on hosting with him. And you don't bring me up when you're introducing Crunch Time. You had 3 chances. You had 3 strikes. You blew them all.
Didn't even get a TJ as well.
The voice you hear, of course, is TJ Zwarych. You don't know TJ Zwarych. He's one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatchewan, Canada. TJ, my apologies. 1,000 apologies. But I did. Your name was not, for some reason, I couldn't see your name on the email. So I'm like, who else is going to be on that show? But TJ, I'm excited to talk about the American Splendor later on tonight, as well as the 10-game, 11-game DFS slate, the Pick Six show at 8 o'clock. Roth, I did go use the interwebs and I learned what a synonym was, and I was wrong last night.
We all told you were wrong. And you wouldn't believe us.
I'm just proud of you for not doubling down.
I was right in a sense that a tart and a pastry they have a world where there's a Venn diagram of those things.
Yes,
a tart is a pastry, but they're not synonyms. That's correct. Where I lost everybody. So there you go. How are things, Roth? Everything good?
Everything is good. I'm missing a fish fry right now with my family, and I'm very bitter because we caught a lot of yummy fish, and here I am on a show not eating delicious fried fish. But I get to talk hoops, so that's okay.
Oh, well, look, producer Steve is behind the scenes. He loves doing crunch time, filling in last minute doing crunch time. Take a break, Roth. Go have some fish.
Steve, you got this?
I don't think we have Steve.
He's not even going to pretend to come on. He's like,
it's just hard now. All right.
That's a Southern thing, right? Fish. I mean, I don't think I've ever partook in a fish fry, but I feel like that's a Southern thing.
Sure, but a lot of people are saying like walleye or cry. It's not just a Southern thing. TJ, I bet there's a lot of fish fries up by you, actually.
Yep. Lots of lakes, lots of fish fries.
Yep.
And he's in Saskatchewan, Canada. If you don't remember from a minute ago, we reminded y'all. But all right,
Tim, we'll go ice fishing right now, then have a fish fry.
It sounds amazing.
Sounds miserable.
It's miserable. Yeah.
We don't have time to get into it. It's a 6-gamer. I'm sure you have some ice fishing stories as well in Minnesota. But hey,
I actually won a state title in ice fishing.
What?
Wow.
That's amazing.
Whoa, next show, brother. Next show.
You were like one of the person. How many people were actually giving you a state title?
Yeah, hundreds of people in a big derby.
How many people actually?
You want a small field GPP?
No, it was a pretty large field.
Can you find the trophy right now in the next 30 seconds?
No, but it's true.
What was the fish that you were catching to win the state title?
I think it was salmon. It was a long time ago. I was a teenager.
Sounds amazing. I did not know. I was talking to a state champ. It's good to know. We'll add that to your resume.
Yeah. Hey, I live on an island in the state of Maine, Roth. That's what we do.
I'm coming to visit. We're fishing.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Let's do it.
I think Josh Allen was like a champion farmer in high school. Did you guys know that?
It checks out. I didn't know that, but it checks out.
I think it was farming. Yeah, he's from one of the Dakotas or something. Give it a Google. All right. Myself, Chop, Tim, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, hit everything. And welcome Kevin Roth and Crunch Time. Roth, take it away.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It is crunch time. It is two of the sharpest minds in the biz. I am not a state champ in anything, but I am a national championship weather forecaster. I won the national championship in weather forecasting in college. That is a true story. It was a team event, so my school won, and I was a member of the team. It's a real thing. We did not get rings, but it is a real thing. Happen to be joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. My guy TJ in the house. What up, TJ?
I also don't have any state championships because states don't exist here. But a couple provincial ones under the belt throughout life.
I approve of that, and we got Neil in the house as well. A state champion beard grower, perhaps.
No, you guys are making me really insecure. I've never won state in anything. I was my fourth grade, I think, spelling bee. I think I won my elementary school fourth grade spelling bee, and then I got knocked out in the whatever the next what's the word I'm looking for? After school, you're a part of a district. I got knocked out in district. I misspelled receive or something. I got tripped up on the I before E, except after C bit.
But then sometimes it switches.
Yeah. It's the worst.
It's a tough one. If you asked me right now to spell it, I would probably get it wrong. So,
but I spelled the word that I got right. That people were shocked by was silhouette in fourth grade, because I had an X-Men card of the character Silhouette, so I knew how to spell it because of that X-Men card.
Oh, nice. SILOUTTE?
Nope. SILHOUETTE.
Shit. And I'm out. I would not have. I would have lost to fourth grade Neil. Yeah. Guys, I'm excited to dive into this slate here. We have 35 minutes until lock, and that gives us plenty of time to talk about what we've got going on here. Got some good games. I think everybody's playing Giannis. Maybe I'm wrong, but let's just get into it. TJ, do you want to give me an overview?
Yeah, let's do it. So we got a pretty fun slate. The biggest thing is the Celtics. They're missing Jason Tatum and Drew Holiday, so they got some value. They got going to be probably two Celtics at least in everybody's lineups today. They're the biggest thing on the board. Outside of that, we got a bunch of okay games followed by Atlanta and Milwaukee, which is the next big thing. We got Giannis, we got Lillard, we got Trey, we got Jalen Johnson, and lots of value in this game as well. So a bunch of kind of not so great games, two really fun ones from a DFS perspective, and then a pretty interesting late night hammer too with Minnesota and the Clippers.
Okay, good stuff. Neil, I will let you lead us off. We'd like to start on FanDuel, and we'd like to start talking some point guard. Who are you playing over there, Neil?
You get into a ton of Derek White, as you would expect. Jared McClain, Tyrese Halliburton, I gave a little bit of a boost. I just think that game could end up being kind of a track meet. Jalen Suggs, Tyler Harrow, D'Angelo Russell. I gave a little bit of a boost to Dante DiVincenzo with Dillingham out. Just I kind of like the range of outcomes for DiVincenzo. Just if he gets hot, I think he could spike an upside at pretty low ownership. Mike Conley, Chris Dunn, Dennis Schroeder, who again, I wrote him up today. I think he's really intriguing, and on FanDuel in particular, like he's clearly overpriced, but I think still is going to look good here with Cam Thomas out. He sees the biggest spike on the team in terms of usage and fantasy points with Cam Thomas out. So in a fast-paced matchup with the Pacers, I think Schroeder has upside that is not accounted for in ownership. And then Damian Lillard, the final player that I'm getting in double digits.
Okay. TJ, Derek White. By the way, you're a hooper. You love basketball. Do you love Derek White as much as I do? I feel like if you're a hooper, you freaking love that dude. Or maybe it's just me.
Absolutely love Derek White. I don't know if you saw this, Roth, but I'm coming at you with the YouTube chat because I won a provincial championship for free throw shooting as a kid, and so I'd absolutely cook you at the free throw line in a free throw competition. But
I agree. Look, in high school, I shot 55% from the stripe. 55%. Those are Shaq numbers I was putting up.
I was pretty good from the free throw
much
line.
Better, but yes, you probably would cook me at least at the stripe. What are you doing at point?
I love Derek White today as well. There was a quote, interestingly enough, there's Derek White chalk, there's D'Angelo Russell chalk. And like a while back when Derek White made the Team USA, D'Angelo Russell had a quote that it was like, I'm really working to get my game to be a lot more like somebody like Derek White's. And he kind of got laughed at a little bit because it's like, dude, you're a top 2 pick. What do you mean? But it was actually like, people who watch basketball were like, yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. He could be good in that role if he could level up his defense to that, if he just became more of a spot up shooter. And so it did. It made a lot of sense. I like Derek White a lot today. I'm getting to about 35% Whites. I have a ton of Peyton Pritchard today. How much is he specifically on FanDuel? I don't think his price is as good there as it is on DraftKings, but I'm getting to a ton of Pritchard over on DK. I think Russell is fine, but that's chalk I'd probably want to get away from. Same with Mike Conley as well. And honestly, and Damian Lillard too. Those are three players on FanDuel that I'm kind of looking at and going, I think I'd rather just go elsewhere. Somebody like Tyrese Maxey at 8,700. I like Derek White's way more than all of those guys above him. Harrow, I think, is fine at 7,500. James Harden at 98. I think after Giannis is probably my favorite spend up on the slate. So I think point guard on FanDuel is a great position to get away from the chalk. Like Halliburton, McCain, even some Dyson Daniels. Like, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Take me to shooting guard. What are you doing over there?
Oh, sorry. People don't need an explanation. My brain was just all over the place. Shooting guard. This is where I think Quentin Jackson becomes a very interesting value play. I like him quite a bit today. I think that's one of the more good chalk options. Derek White, probably my favorite guy here as well. Jaylen Brown at 86 is a nice price tag, but if I'm only choosing one, I'm probably picking Derek White over Jaylen Brown today. I don't mind Halliburton. I think AJ Green is a viable salary saving option today. It sounds kind of crazy, but I'm playing a little bit of Caldwell Pope for Orlando. He's been playing a lot better lately, and he's been shooting a lot of shots. And when they go in, he actually has good fantasy games. And then Dalton Connect, I think, is interesting as a value play as well.
Okay, he was it Chop's slate breaker, or he was somebody's slate breaker?
Yeah,
on the prior show. Neil, what are you doing at shooting guard?
Shooting guard on FanDuel. Derek White.
He was Tim's game breaker. Anyways, Neil, what are we doing at shooting guard?
Yeah, Derek White, number 1 at shooting guard. Also, Jared McCain, number 2. Also, Jaylen Brown coming in number 3 for me at shooting guard. Tyrese Halliburton, number 4. Jalen Suggs, Tyler Harrow, Dante DiVincenzo, Chris Dunn, Kelly Oubre, Ant. Actually, Kelly Oubre, the last that I'm getting to double digits. One of the rare slates where I don't see myself forcing in double digits of Ant, I think.
Okay, then take me to small forward. What are we doing there? Who do you got?
Yep. At small forward, Sam Hauser is my highest exposed. I don't know. I might cut back a little bit on what I have right now, but I think he looks great. Like if I get to 50% Sam Hauser, I probably just accept it. LeBron, Jaylen Brown, Rui Hachimura, Jimmy Butler, Amir Coffey, Cam Johnson, who I don't know if we have an update there on Cam. I haven't looked at the latest injury report. Okay. Kelly Oubre, Jalen Wilson, and Derek Jones, the only other player I'm getting double digits.
Is this the first LeBron game since everyone started asking, is LeBron washed?
I don't know. When did everybody start? I think that was like 4 or 5 years ago that everybody started asking if LeBron's washed.
Yeah,
so no, there have been a few.
So true. I feel like he's been getting cooked lately, and I just think he's about to remind the world he is still the king, and he's going to take the crown out. And we're going to see a lot of that tonight. TJ, what are you doing at small forward?
So I think this is a really great place in tournaments to get away from the chalk. Like from a cash game perspective, yeah, you play some Hauser, you play some Jones, play Coffee, whoever fits there, and it's fine. I'd want to make sure I'm playing Jaylen Brown. He's the one that I think is good chalk. Same with Franz Wagner. I think that's fine. But I think in tournaments, you want to get underweight on Hauser, Jones, Coffee, because on DraftKings, they're a little bit better in terms of ownership. But on FanDuel, they're just all egregiously owned, 30 plus for all of these guys today. So I think it's really good to get away from them in tournaments. Look to somebody like LeBron James, who nobody's going to be playing today. If you want to try and get a salary saver, go to Jordan Miller at 3,700, who is projecting for a fraction of the ownership of Amir Coffey, which is a different bench guy for the Clippers, who's been putting in some pretty good usage rates, as Dean mentioned on the last show. So Jordan Miller at 3,700 is probably my favorite of everybody for tournaments. You can play Connect here at 5,400 as well. Jalen Johnson at 9K is small forward eligible, and nobody's playing him. I just think you basically play anybody other than Hauser, Jones, Coffee, and Hachimura in tournaments, and you're getting nice and different.
Okay, very good. That brings us to power forward, unless you just told me power forward and I was thinking about my fish fry.
No, power forward, you absolutely nailed it. Porzingis is mega chalk today. He's going to be like 50% owned. I actually just think that's right. I think he should be. He's not going to play a ton of minutes, but especially on FanDuel where you get points, extra points for block shots. Porzingis is only 7,700 is a great price, even for only 28 to 30 minutes of Porzingis today, especially considering there's extra usage going around without Jason Tatum there. Power forward's very similar to small forward because a lot of those guys had dual eligibility. Hauser, Jones, Hachimura, I still think all of them are going over-owned. Giannis is great if you can afford him, but if you're not going to those chalk value plays, it is kind of tougher. If you want to play Giannis, I recommend going to who we talked about at the last position, somebody like Jordan Miller, who's going to be a much less chalky value option today. I don't love a lot at this position. That's why I think Porzingis chalk is kind of like good chalk because he deserves to be 50% owned. I think large field tournaments going to guys like Jalen Johnson, maybe Naz Reid, Onyeka Okongwu, DeAndre Hunter, any of those Atlanta players, just so I could get some exposure to the Atlanta-Milwaukee game. I like that.
Okay, very good. Neil, you on that Zinger train?
Yeah, he's currently my third highest behind LeBron and Sam Hauser. And again, I haven't done anything to adjust my Sam Hauser. I will be adjusting down. I don't know that I'm going to get away from Sam Hauser to the same extent that TJ is, but I'm definitely not trying to be significantly overweight on Hauser. So Hauser, LeBron, Porzingis, Rui, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, Cam Johnson, Jalen Wilson, Derek Jones, Pascal Siakam, and Anthony Davis, the only players I'm getting in double digits currently.
Okay, then you get to take us to the big fellas. What are you doing at center?
Yeah,
I guess you can play Zinger at center if you so choose.
Yeah, so as far as my exposures go, Porzingis doubling up my second highest exposed center, that being Miles Turner, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Davis, Goga, Brook Lopez, Ivica Zubac, and that's it as far as double digits go.
Okay, TJ, what do you like at the center spot? And are you playing Zinger at power forward? You said you don't like that position, so I kind of assume you are.
Yeah, I'm probably going Zinger at power forward. My favorite center option for tournaments is Zubac, who Neil just mentioned. I'd want to be pairing those two together in tournaments, but cash games, honestly, I'm fine with going Zubac there too. I like Clint Capella a little bit. If you're spending up to AD, I think that's fine. I love Brook Lopez in tournaments quite a bit. And then I think Okongwu's viable for tournaments. That's about it. Like, honestly, if you want to take a shot on somebody like a Mo Bamba and just punt the position, I think center's weak enough today. Everywhere is kind of weak enough today that I think you can punt it.
Okay, very good. We want to kick it over to DK, but first we want to let you know DFS is all about the value. We are all about the value here at RotoGrinders. Busiest time in sports calendar. Perfect time to sign up for RG Combo for a limited time. Get your first month of combo access for $79.99, just $5 more than NBA Premium. That is an outrageous deal, so do not pass it up. Also, you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice there's a little thumbs up button. You just hit it. Just hit it. That's all. We're trying to get the eyeballs, trying to keep this show free for you. So smash that like button for us. With that, let's pivot over to a little DraftKings. TJ, what do you think about DraftKings, and what do you think about taking questions for the last 10 minutes so I can leave early and go to my fish fry?
Yeah, if Steve's okay with it, I don't mind either. That's totally fine with me. And so, yeah, we got to clear it with the guy behind the scenes, but as long as that's fine, I don't care. Peyton Pritchard is my top guy at 6,700. Not at 6,700, at 67%. I'm getting to double the field on Peyton Pritchard. Absolute ton of him. James Harden is number 2. I want to be double the field on him as well, 50+%. Those are probably my 2 favorite plays on the slate, and definitely the guys I'm going to be getting the most overweight on. I'm just getting to a ton of Pritchard, Harden, and then Jordan Miller. The other that's not point guard. So Pritchard, Harden, and White are my top 3 highest owned point guards. I have 26% Trae Young coming in 4th. And then after that, nobody's over 20. I'm going to be very underweight on D'Angelo Russell today. I'm going to be getting to about half the field. Jared McCain, I love for tournaments. Tyrese Maxey, I like for tournaments. Getting to some high upside guys that are very volatile, like TJ McConnell, Dyson Daniels, Dennis Schroeder, Chris Dunn. But Pritchard, Harden, White, Young are my top 4 by a very high margin.
Yeah. Okay. Neil, I feel like you're on board with those dudes, but what are you doing at point?
Yeah, a lot of the same. I currently do have D'Angelo Russell as my second highest exposed, and I actually did cut down. I've been working on it a little bit, and he's my second highest exposed. I'll probably cut down further. I'm gonna have more than TJ is for sure. I'll probably be like right with the field on D'Angelo Russell ultimately, but it's Derek White at the top for me, then D'Lo, then Pritchard, Chris Dunn, James Harden, Tyrese Halliburton, who again I gave a little bit of a bump to here, Tyler Harrow, Trae Young, and Mike Conley, and I gave a boost to Dennis Schroeder, and I'm just barely at double digits there.
Did get some news. Ben Simmons is in. I had two people asking me about Ben Simmons. I don't even know what position he is because you could call him anything from like a point guard to a 4 or 5.
He's in and he's been in. I think people maybe were just worried because he's not starting.
Gotcha. Any interest? A few people say, like, let's see,
No.
The Pacers are very weak inside. Any interest there?
What's Ben Simmons going to do to somebody who's weak inside? Drive to the hoop and kick it out for 3?
I was going to say miss another layup. I could completely miss the rim. You're not interested, TJ?
No. And somebody else mentioning that Pritchard's not starting. That's okay. We did not expect Pritchard to start. He was always going to be coming off the bench. We like that more that he's coming off the bench. That means more usage.
Okay, great. Neil, any interest in Simmons first? And then I want your thoughts at shooting guard.
I think if I were playing 150, I would probably mix in just a little bit of Simmons on DraftKings and hope that he spikes like 28 minutes in the game. And it's a great matchup with the Pacers. So like, because of the matchup, I think you could conceivably do it in a 150 set. I don't think I'm going to get to any Ben Simmons today though.
Okay, fair enough. What are you doing at shooting guard?
As far as what I'm doing, currently Derek White, D'Lo, Chris Dunn, Peyton Pritchard, Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton, James Harden, Tyler Harrow, and Schroeder are my only double-digit. Sorry, you said shooting guard, and I read off point guard.
I was like, these are a lot of the same names.
Yeah. No, guard. It's completely different names, some different names. Derek White is my highest exposed shooting guard. Also, Jaylen Brown, Jordan Miller, Chris Dunn, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Peyton Pritchard, Dalton Connect, and that's it as far as shooting guards in double digits for me.
TJ, some of your favorites there at the 2.
A lot of similar names. Peyton Pritchard is number 1. I thought Jaylen Brown and Derek White would be 2 and 3, but Jordan Miller is actually the guy that bumps up above them. Flat minimum price, $3K on the Clippers, coming off the bench, but probably going to play 20-ish minutes with a decent usage rate. So I'm getting 39% Miller, 38% Brown, 36% White. So all in the same range, but ended up with a little more Jordan Miller than those guys. I like Quentin Jackson, got about 25% of him. Same with Dalton Connect, about 20%. And then a lot of the cheaper guys, I'm taking similar shots on, like Bogdan Bogdanovic is a double-digit player for me, same as Neil. I am taking shots here, Caldwell Pope, and then I like Jared McCain at very low ownership for tournaments.
Okay, strong position. TJ, what are you doing in small forward?
A lot of the same names: Miller, Brown, Jackson, Connect. Those are my 4 highest owned players at the position. They're shooting guard, small forward eligible, so they're just getting swapped around. Hachimura is 5th, but he's tied with Bogdanovic and Amir Coffey. So just a bunch of guys that I don't really love, but the guys like Hachimura and Coffey, because there's more value on DraftKings, they're not insanely high owned like they are on FanDuel. So I like them a lot more on this site. Wagner is expensive, but I don't mind him. Taking a couple shots on Risa Shea and Hunter, and then I'm going to be underweight on Sam Hauser here as well, even though much like I mentioned on the Hachimuras and the Coffees, Hauser I think is a better play on DraftKings where he's lower owned and you get the 3-point bonus.
Gotcha. Neil, your thoughts there at small forward?
Small forward, I'm getting to Jaylen Brown, Sam Hauser. 1 second. Jordan Miller, Amir Coffey, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Rui Hachimura, Cam Johnson, who actually I gave a little bit of a boost to Cam Johnson. Again, I just really like that game environment. So any of the like pretty good plays in the Pacers Nets game, I gave a little bit of a bump to. So I'm trying to get above weight to the field there. Dalton Connect, Jimmy Butler, and that's it as far as double digits for me.
Is Miller going to be super chalk coming in at 3K? What is his ownership?
I'm sort of concerned about that too. Like he looks pretty good. If he got too high owned, I would probably try to get away from it. I'm seeing 29% what I'm looking at here, but let me.
You're seeing
TJ, what do you see?
It looks like on RotoGrinders, which TJ, can you tell me about this dude's game? Like, is he going to sit in the corner and give me a Tony Snell, or is he going to get things done?
So like we're projecting him for 16% on our latest updates. I don't know a lot about him, but I do know that he's pretty much consistently put up over at least a 20% usage rate.
Oh.
Last game, he played 23 minutes, 20%. Game before that, 19.76. Before that, 24, 29, 28.
Okay.
So he's going to chuck. And at
I love
3K,
that.
like as long as he's putting up the attempts, it seems like that's good enough for me to like, you can still lose if he misses, but as long as the guy's not just going to be standing there, that's somebody that I think I want to take shots on. In the last few games in the last 3 games, he's played at least 4 games, I'll say, because it's one's close enough, that he's played at least 20 minutes, 25.5 DK points, 19.5, 12.25, 20. So 12.25 isn't good, but even that doesn't totally bomb your lineup when a guy's 3K flat.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff, guys. Neil, talk to me about power forward.
Yeah, power forward on DraftKings. Sam Hauser, number 1 for me. LeBron, number 2. Amir Coffey, Giannis, Rui, Naz Reid, Derek Jones Jr., Cam Johnson, Pascal Siakam, another player I gave a little bit of a boost to, Jimmy Butler, Julius Randle, and that is it as far as double. I actually gave a little bit of a boost to Julius Randle just as a homer want to play somebody on the Timberwolves for late night hammer, and I don't love Ant here, so I decided 7,600 Julius Randle, kind of intriguing to me, even if he has been maybe losing a little bit of minutes recently. I think it's still kind of volatile there.
Okay.
Can I interest you if you want your Timberwolves late night hammer instead to get a little access to Naz Reid at only 4,600?
Yeah, no, I like that call. We Naz Reid, did I not say it? I have some Naz Reid, so I guess that is he's actually probably my highest exposed Timberwolf.
Oh,
is Naz Reid.
Very nice. Okay,
Yeah.
TJ, other thoughts at power forward?
It's like FanDuel, it's a pretty ugly position, and so I am getting to a little bit of Derek Jones, who is probably the cash game play, but I'm going to be underweight. Amir Coffey and Rui Hachimura, they're fine, and I'm mostly playing them at power forward instead of small forward. But I'm trying to, and same with Hauser, but I like taking shots on guys nobody else is playing, like a Jarris Walker or Obi Toppin, these Indiana players. Same with DeAndre Hunter, Naz Reid, who we just talked about, and then paying up to be different to Jalen Johnson or LeBron James. But my highest owned power forward today is 30% Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. Okay. Then you get to take us to the big man. Is Zinger the play here on DK, just like he was on FanDuel, TJ?
Yes, but I'll be underweight here on DraftKings just because you don't have the that same block bonus, although you do have the 3-point bonus, which is huge for him. So those kind of cancel each other out. But I'm not getting as much just because I think there are more options here. So he's my second highest owned the position behind Giannis. But again, Giannis will mostly be power forward. So I'll have more Porzingis at center. Mm-hmm. So that does make him my highest owned, but I'm going below the upwards of 40% that we're seeing that the field get to right now. I have about 25. I'm using that to get to some other options like Clint Capella, Ivica Zubac, Anthony Davis, punting with Mo Bamba, punting with Day'Ron Sharp. And then I'm getting to some uncomfortable but high upside plays like Goga Batadze, Onyeka Okongwu, and Brook Lopez, who I really like for tournaments.
Okay, good stuff. Neil, your favorites at the center spot?
Yep. LeBron James, my number 1 center currently. Kristaps, Giannis, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, Ivica Zubac, Julius Randle, Nick Claxton. And that's it as far as double digits. Nick Claxton, I gave a little bit of a boost to. I have a few right below double digits that I actually gave a boost to because I want to make sure I have a little bit of exposure to Wendell Carter Jr. Again, he lost some minutes in the last game with Mo Wagner playing so well and then a blowout, and I think he could again see bigger minutes than we're expecting. We do have go back also, so maybe the minutes upside is kind of capped there. It's sort of intriguing at 5,100. And then Obi Toppin, I like that call. Also, I'd actually given a little bit of a boost to Obi Toppin, but still just getting a few percentage.
Okay, good stuff. Did have a few people ask about Shake Milton. Did either of you get to any Shake?
Nope.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't currently have any.
All those Brooklyn guys who are stepping into bigger roles, they've all been priced up, and so I don't actually really like any of them other than Cam Johnson and Schroeder, who are the guys who are actual good basketball players.
Right. Yeah, those
good
are the two
ish basketball players. I'm saying a lot, but for Brooklyn,
I get you. Okay, well, it is about that time to get some QQs. We have 14 minutes until lock, and I have one great friend from Saskatoon who is going to take the QQs for me. TJ, I owe you one, man. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. Enjoy some fish. Enjoy the family.
I will.
We will,
And
we'll see you
it's
later.
going to be great. I get to go hang with my family and have a fish fry. These late shows kill me. So thank you. I appreciate it. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us. They're staying, but I'm getting out of here. You have been crunched, but just for me. Peace.
DK Cash, Neil, and the same question for FanDuel. And so both DK and FanDuel. How many Celtics do you think is too many Celtics? I don't think you can get there in FanDuel because I think you have to play 4 Celtics in FanDuel Cash. Like, that's a must. But on DraftKings, I think you can get 4. I don't know that I'd get 5, but I think you, like, would you play Pritchard, Brown, White, Hauser, and Porzingis in Cash?
On DraftKings?
Yeah.
Probably. Wait, sorry, you're saying yeah, agree with you. Probably at least 4. Now I'm struggling because I've adjusted so many.
I just hit optimal, and there's 4 Celtics in the optimal.
I would just play 4 then. I mean, you probably like. I'm less worried about playing too many from the same team in Cash than GPPs. So if you have 5 that all like project as the 5 best point per dollar plays or of the best point per dollar plays, then it's fine. But if there's only 4 in the optimal, then I would probably just stick to 4. Like, I don't want to play 5 from the same team, even in Cash.
Yeah, I think just because there's so many of them that I want to get to on DraftKings, Hauser is probably the guy that I end up leaving off in Cash, just because there's other guys at the similar positions that you can get to, similar prices you can go there. Derek Jones, Amir Coffey, and that way you can still load up on all the Celtics at the other positions. But I think Pritchard, Porzingis, Brown, White, those are definitely going to be the 4 priorities. DK GPP, maybe Hauser over Pritchard on FanDuel though. DK GPP, Sharp, Bamba, or Quentin Jackson. That's going to be Jackson for me. How about you?
Yeah, agreed.
DK single entry, Goga or Capella?
Oh, that's close. I really like Goga, but I think it's probably Capella for me.
Yeah, that same page as me. I really like both of them, but I like Capella more. FanDuel single entry, Quentin Jackson and Franz, or Jimmy and D'Lo?
Quentin Jackson and Franz, probably the first one.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like that one quite a bit. FanDuel GPP, Mo Wagner, Naz Reid, or Brooke Lopez, Obi Toppin?
I think number 1 for me.
All right, let's pivot over to the YouTube. What do we got here? We got a bunch of people. Bamba or Batum on FanDuel?
Ooh. Probably Bamba. I just think like higher upside if things go his way.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Mo Wagner with Batatse in. I still think he's somewhat viable just because we don't have a lot of value on this slate, but I don't really like it. If I have another option I can get to, I would prefer most of the other options. What else do we got here? What do you think about Jalen Suggs to get 25 or more points tonight at plus 700?
I mean, that's asking kind of a lot of Suggs, but yeah, I mean, he's been playing big minutes. What is his? Let me look at his recent game log, because I think he could spike significant minutes here. That's a lot of points though. Sorry, what is the line?
Plus 700.
Plus 700. That seems like a fair line to me. I don't do a lot of sports betting, so I'm not the best person to ask sports betting questions, but that seems probably about right.
Yeah, I agree.
Thoughts on it?
About right there as well. I wouldn't say you're wrong for doing it, but it's not like something I'd have to go, oh, I need to smash that absolutely as many units as I can. I did get a few NBA bets on tonight. I did a few ladders on James Harden assists up to 12, James Harden points up to 35. I laddered Peyton Pritchard's points up to 35 or to 25. Sorry. Trae Young points and assists up to 40. And Brooke Lopez up to 3+ 3-pointers made today. So
I'm jealous.
I like Brooke Lopez.
We can't in Minnesota. We can't sports bet. So otherwise I would be, of course, doing sports betting. Those seem like good bets.
Let's get back to the QQs. What do we got here? Someone said Roth hates his job. No, he doesn't. Roth loves his job, but he loves his friends who can cover for him even more. What do you think on Kelly Oubre for FanDuel single entry?
FanDuel single entry. And single entry, like to me, single entry, I don't really care whether it's single entry or like large field GP, sorry, single entry or MME. All it really matters to me is how many lineups are in the contest in total. So like to tell me how large the contest is. But I think Kelly Oubre is viable in FanDuel GPPs.
Miller or Coffee for FanDuel cash at small forward. As much as I love Miller, the answer for cash is Coffee. He's guaranteed more minutes. He's going to have way more projected ownership. He's going to be the one people are playing in cash, and he projects better. So in cash, it's Coffee. But if you're someone who plays the same lineup in a bunch of tournaments and a bunch of cash, and it's all one, I would try and split it. Miller in the tournaments and Coffee in cash, because Miller will be lower owned on FanDuel, and I think he actually is the higher upside too, just a lower floor. Thoughts on Jarris Walker? I like him as a low owned salary saving option today. How about you?
Yeah, I think he looks good. You know, projects well enough to be in play, but not well enough that other people are on him. So I think has some upside. I like it.
On FanDuel, Capella and McCain or Naz Reid and Cam Johnson? I like that Capella McCain side quite a bit.
Yeah, I like both sides. I mean, I really like Naz. I really like Cam Johnson today. So I guess I'll take the other side of it. But honestly, I like both sides quite a bit.
Another Naz question for you: Bogdanovic or Naz Reid in a large field GPP?
Probably Bogdanovic.
Ricky Council in a FanDuel GPP viable?
Yeah,
I'm not getting there, but I think with all the chalk that I described as bad, anybody that's a punt that's going to get minutes and is low owned is viable.
Yeah, he's cheaper on DraftKings. I guess the salary is a little bit different, so maybe I'd say like viable. Like we could see a little bit more minutes than he's being projected for. So I think viable, but not a priority for me.
Large field FanDuel GPP, D'Lo or McCain?
Yeah, I mean it's totally different, right? In terms of how much ownership they're going to get. What do we have? D'Lo coming in at, hang on, where is D'Lo? Oh, he's not
30%, and McCain
okay.
about 23.
Yeah. At those ownerships, I'd probably rather play. I guess it's not as big now. Now that I'm looking at it, I was thinking there was a bigger discrepancy there, but that's on DraftKings.
On DraftKings, it's
on
like
FanDuel, yeah,
5%.
Yeah, no, they're like the same price on FanDuel and getting about the same ownership. I guess I would probably go to Jared McCain there. I'm getting to more Jared McCain when I run my FanDuel stuff.
Yeah, me too. Sam Hauser or Derek Jones Jr. on DraftKings?
Sam Hauser.
Yeah, as long as I don't already have 4 Celtics. Like if Hauser would be my 5th Celtic, I think I go Jones. Otherwise, it's Hauser. Derek Jones Jr. or Obi Toppin, FanDuel power forward. I like Obi Toppin better for large field tournaments. I think Derek Jones Jr. is going to be pushing 30+% ownership, and Toppin's probably going to be like 5. So in a large field tournament, I think I like Toppin there. Best player on DraftKings, 4,200 or under. No Jackson or Clippers. So no Jackson or Clippers, and they need a $4,200 or under player. I would probably go. So I'll narrow a few down for you. Jarris Walker, Zach Risa-Shea, or Caldwell Pope.
I think I like Risa-Shea there.
Yeah, I think he's a solid option as well. I like getting exposure to that game. So if I don't have any other Atlanta players, I like Risa-Shea there. Mo Wagner or Sam Hauser, FanDuel GPP. I like Hauser there as much as I kind of poo-pooed on him earlier.
Yeah, same page.
FanDuel GPP, White, Pritchard, or Harrow?
White, Pritchard, or Harrow? Probably White.
Turner or Zubats on DK? I like Zubats there. I really like him for tournaments today. FanDuel last man in GPP, Conley, Dunn, McConnell, Ben Simmons. Pick one.
Conley, Dunn, McConnell, Ben Simmons. Dunn, I think.
I think Dunn is very solid on FanDuel where you get that steal upside. I don't mind McConnell there either in a large field. Siakam or Turner? Doesn't say the format.
Yeah, I really like both. I guess I would probably go with Siakam if I can only play one. But yeah, both are players that I like forced in some exposure to.
McCain and Pritchard or White and Oubre on FanDuel?
White and Oubre.
FanDuel Cash 2v2, Jalen and Yabusele or Derek White and Turner. I think that's Derek White and Turner, even though I would be trying to play Derek White and Jalen both in FanDuel Cash. I don't think I'd want that to be an either or for me. I think FanDuel Cash, you're playing White, Brown, Hauser, Porzingis. Those are 4 staples you probably want to get in there on FanDuel Cash. Pritchard's more expensive there, so it doesn't necessarily need to be a cash option. DK GPP, single entry, small field, best play, utility spot, 6,300 or less. So Brooke Lopez, Dyson Daniels, or Yabusele. Which of those 3 do you like best?
I think Brooke Lopez. They're pretty close. Yeah, I think Brooke Lopez for me.
Lopez would be my favorite there as well. 3,400 for utility in DK tournament. Large field. They already have Jordan Miller. So I will ask you, Mo Bamba, Simone Fontecchio, or Thomas Da Silva? Tristan Da
Bamba.
Silva.
Yeah,
Bamba,
it'd be Bamba.
yeah. I agree there. And you actually get some correlation with Bamba and Brandon Miller that maybe if this one blows out, those guys get a couple extra minutes together at the end. DK, Sam Hauser, or D'Lo. I think D'Lo is got a way, way higher upside there. It's going to be way higher owned, but I still would rather go D'Lo. Horford or Claxton, large field FanDuel GPP.
For me, it'd be Claxton, I think. I just want to take a few shots there on Claxton. I think there's a pretty big upside.
I agree. I like that play quite a bit. We have hit all of the QQs. If you got any last minute questions in, get them in here. Here's one. Bam or Porzingis? DK single entry GPP. Still Porzingis for me on that one. Who's breaking the slate for you tonight?
I'm going to go with Schroeder. He was my call this morning. I think he's just going to come in really low owned. So like from a GPP standpoint, he I would say is my favorite play. How about you?
Peyton Pritchard and James Harden are my 2 guys, but those are going to be 2 30-ish% owned plays. So those are my main ones that I think are going off today and are breaking the slate. But outside of the super obvious ones, I'm going to go Ivica Zubac.
Yeah. I mean, like Derek White is like the most, probably the most obvious answer, but like everybody's going to be playing Derek White.
I put together an underdog card on for tonight's underdog and prize picks plays, and I have 2 of them in that game. I have more than for Derek White and Peyton Pritchard for points, more than 15.5 points for Derek White, higher than 16.5 points for Peyton Pritchard, higher than 17.5 points for Jared McCain, higher than 2.5 blocks or 1.5 threes for Brooke Lopez, and higher than 25 points for James Harden as well. Last question, but then we will get out of here. Connect or Hauser? Last piece, doesn't say the format.
Hauser. I like not knowing the rest of the lineup. I guess I would say Hauser, but I like both. Both seem like good plays.
Yeah, I think Connect's going to be lower owned today. I think I'd sour there, but I don't know. I just watched a lot of Hauser, and I know he's going to either hit 10 threes and break the slate, or he's going to go 0 for 4 and then only going to play 18 minutes, even though he starts. And so he's a tough one for me to kind of figure out, but that'll do it. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in. We will be back in 30 minutes from now with the Pick 6 show. I'll be behind the scenes for Dean, Rich Rebar, and John Daigle to be talking you through their top 3 games of the NFL slate, then go position by position. And then we talk some movies at the end. It's fun time. Make sure you tune in. On behalf of myself, Neil, Steve behind the scenes, we'll see you next time, everyone. Peace.